Arizona Cardinals. He talked about Kyler Murray in a recent interview. Beachum said, yes, Murray does have the ability to lead a team, but that Kyler needs to, quote, grow up a little. Shannon, what's your take on this?
Skip, look, at some point in time, everything that's been coming out about Kyler Murray out of Arizona, some of it has to be truth. Now, here's the thing. I remember when sources were saying Kyler Murray was immature and Kyler Murray needed to do this. Everybody said, sources, put your name on it. Pat P put his name on it. Kelvin Benjamin put his name on it. The Arizona Cardinals put their contract on it. So damn, how much more evidence that you need that Kyler Murray is immature and behaved in a manner that's unbecoming a quarterback that is to lead a franchise? What more you need, Skip? And then, I get it. Hollywood, that's what you're supposed to do. Come to support your teammates. But damn, after all these sources have come out and said things about Kyler Murray, why hasn't he changed? Why you keep needing people to pick up the phone and call him? Damn, I got to call you and tell you about your behavior. You know. There's one thing about, look, we're very self-aware. We're very aware of who we are, if we're jerks, if we're pricks, if we're nice, if we're outgoing. We know that about ourselves. I don't need somebody to call and tell me what I already know about myself. Look, I get it. But at some point in time, Kyler Murray's going to have to take ownership of this. You know, when they took it, Shannon, they took it out of his contract. They already put it in there. You tell me another athlete that had a clause in his contract that he has to study X amount of hours away from the facility. I'm still waiting because people told me that was very common. I hadn't seen another contract like it yet. And people that did contract that worked for NFL teams, the Louis Riddicks and the Andrew Branson, they had never, ever seen or heard something of that nature, a clause like that placed in a contract. Kyler Murray needs to do some self-reflecting and says, you know what? Why do these people keep saying that I need to mature? Why do these people keep saying I need to grow up? Instead of saying, they should come, hey, Pat P, you got my number, and Hollywood saying this guy got your number, how about grow up? And then they won't have to call and tell you. But the sources have been saying this for years. And everybody says sources need to put their name. Put your name on it. They put their name on it, and you still got a problem with it. What about, you got a problem with what Beachum said. You got a problem with what Pat P said. You got a problem with what the Cardinals did. Ain't nobody yet said they got a problem with Kyler Murray. Something wrong with this picture, Skip.
Well, wait a second. Kyler hasn't spoken yet about what Beachum said about him, right? But this is old news, because this is just like, this is a get in line story, because it's a long line of people from inside who have said, you need to grow up, and you need to grow up, and you need to grow up. He signed off on a clause in his own contract. He signed the dotted line that said, you have a homework clause. And he said, okay, I accept it. Well, to me, that's saying, I got to grow up. He actually went public with a signature that said, I need to grow up. I sign it. And it was horrendous for him, because it's going to be a cloud over his career. That's going to be hard. It's just hard to get out from under. Yeah, because everybody's going to remember, you got a homework clause? Really?
Guess what? Every time he misses a read, or he gets sacked, or bless, he didn't, they're going to say, yeah, if you'd have been studying, if you'd have put down COD, if you'd have put down Fortnite, you might have would have read that blitz. You might have read that protection. See, that's what you have to go through, because he set himself up. Now you're subject to all the speculation that comes along with it, because, like you said, you put your name on the dotted line with that clause in your contract.
Okay. I don't really care what Kelvin Beachum says. He has been there for a while, but he's 33 years of age. He's about to be a free agent, as we speak. He was drafted in the 7th round out of SMU by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's bounced from Jacksonville to the Jets and now to Arizona. And I did like one Hollywood Brown line, because he was talking to basically Beachum publicly, saying, I ain't never seen so much collusion from within. Like, can we have each other's back? Because he said we all have each other's number, obviously. But his final line was, I ain't never public bash or talk down to anybody, even after years of running for his life. And he's talking about Kyler running for his life because of Kelvin Beachum, who's an offensive lineman who missed a block or whatever. Okay. So
Two things can be true. Kelvin Beachum might not be the best right tackle in football, and Kyler Murray still might lacks maturity. Why can't two things? Why it has to be mutually exclusive? Because Kelvin Beachum, it might not be the top offensive lineman. What he says is not valid about what he said about Kyler Murray.
Yeah. I watched the whole interview, or not the whole one, but I watched the sound bite of Kelvin Beachum, and he wasn't harsh.
He wasn't malicious with it.
It wasn't at all. It was kind of like matter of fact. Yeah, he needs to grow up a little. It was said in that kind of tone, but it wasn't bad. And he said he's got the ability and the willingness, and he said he's going to be just fine. That was his conclusion.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not going to get all worked up about Kelvin Beachum, but clearly, going forward, Kyler's been called out. He called himself out, and he got a coach fired, and he was clashing with the coach so badly that you and I agreed we'd never seen anything like the way he talked to his coach on the field during a timeout.
Right.
What?
And talk about the play calling and all those things like that. That's not maturity. No. I don't care what anybody says. There is a time and a place for everything. I get it. When you're in the heat of the moment, Skip, frustration is high. But that at the end of the day, he's still the head coach. And I believe there's a certain level of respect. I don't think that he would have talked to Kyler like that. Then it would have been a problem. If Kingsbury had talked to Kyler and asked him, what the F are you doing?
Yeah. I
call the F and play and yada, yada, yada. I mean, come on, man.
And then Kyler took a post-game shot at the play calling.
Yes.
Okay.
All of that's a part of maturity.
Ugly.
Skip, you think Tom Brady in 23 years, there were some plays that called that he didn't like? You think Peyton Manning or Elway, name a quarterback, Troy Aikman, name a quarterback that at some point in time hadn't had plays like, what the F are we, all the plays we practice, and this is the play you called in this situation, this down and distance, at this area of the field, and at this time of the game? Sure. But you don't voice it public. So now it's okay. You got Cliff's number. I thought we had each other's back.
Yep.
Oh, you want everybody to have Kyler's back while he serves his head coach up for everybody. Nah.
So now you have a defensive head coach.
Right.
And I wonder about how good that defense was in Philadelphia, but that's a whole nother story. It doesn't feel like you have strong sort of stewardship at the top. I don't know if they're going in the right direction.
Remember how the Cardinals was rated? So I'm not so sure that's the best organization for Kyler Murray to get the maturity and the guidance that he needs in order to be the player that he wants to become.
I would agree with that. So now we'll see where the defensive head coach goes with the offensive quarterback. But he's obviously, the new coach has said repeatedly, it's all about, we'll go as far as Kyler takes us.
Yeah, but that's not earth-shattering news. Hell, well, make me the head coach, because I can tell you that.
That is a
You only
fact.
go as far as the quarterback takes you.
That is a fact. And they will, or won't.
Well, guys, speaking of quarterbacks, you know what? Tampa Bay needs a new one. You think it could be Baker Mayfield replacing Tom Brady?
What?
Let's discuss on the other side of this break.